Great. So let me do that. So welcome to Pathway to Purpose. So this is a masterclass I've taught before with my own personal brand, and it has a lot of success. I've taught this masterclass, I think 2 times right now so far, and I've also run deeper programs into the Gene Keys, combining Gene Keys, breathwork, and transformational coaching. So for those of you that don't know me, you're completely new. You may have come from another community, or you've come from our Beats and Breath community or my personal community in Christopher August. But if you don't know me, I'm a transformational coach, I'm a breathwork facilitator, and I'm the co-founder of Beats and Breath. And I've been working with the Gene Keys for about 6 years now. It's been a deeply transformational pair of teachings that have completely altered my life on many levels. And I'm going to go more into that and how that has changed my life and why I'm qualified now to teach it. I've been doing Gene Keys readings and weaving this into all aspects of my coaching work for many years. And the reason I do so is because I find it to be one of the most valuable tools out there. Hands down, I've gone very deep in many different teachings, many different texts, many different philosophies over the course of 15 plus years. And I can confidently say that the Gene Keys has to be one of the most potent and powerful teachings that I've ever come across. And so this is an opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about yourself. If you've been on the self-discovery journey, we always ask those big questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? How can I contribute to the world? Well, the Gene Keys gives you a answer into that and gives you some clarity on your path. And we'll go into how you can unlock that. So Ben has said, I've done Gene Key intro before. Let me just look. Up to the day of love. Can anyone advise me on how to access the profile? So I'm going to put the genekeys.com/free profile in there. And you can click that link if you haven't done that. Yes, you go on the website and you get your free profile. So we don't have to spend too much time in that right now. You can, again, it takes just a few minutes. Don't worry about reading through it. I'm going to guide you through the whole process today where you're going to learn a lot about your profile. So before we get into, I have some slides I'm going to present just to make the presentation a little bit more interactive. And I'm also going to be tuning in with you guys and getting clear on what is your intentions for being here. Are you new to the Gene Keys? If you're new to the Gene Keys, put it in the chat. I'd love to kind of get a gauge on who's new, fairly new, maybe you've dipped your toes in, but haven't really dove deep. New, very new. Toe dip, new, fairly new, beautiful. Okay. Yes, Neha, there will be recordings after this. New, beautiful. Okay, great. Now I know who I'm talking to and how I can serve you guys better. So that's beautiful. So before I go into everything about the Gene Keys, you guys can ask questions throughout. I'll be looking at the chat and making sure that you guys get answered all the questions that you have about the Gene Keys. But before we go into that, just want to share a little bit about my story, about how I kind of got to where I am, specifically in my living my purpose, doing what I love, and making an impact, making money, abundance from what I love to do and how I'm serving the world. It's been a long journey for me to get here. This hasn't always been this way. And really, my journey and my story into this work of personal development and this work of self-discovery that I've not only guided myself on, I've had other people guide me on, but also help others, started really back in 2008. I was given 2 books that changed my life. One was Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss. 2 was The Alchemist, which I'm sure many of you have already read. Those 2 books really set me up for what I would say would be this catalyst for me to go on this deep inner quest within myself. And as a result of that, I have explored all the various corners of my own consciousness as well as this world. So in 2012, I was just finishing my master's degree in business leadership. And I was being called upon by the top leaders in my company. I worked for a global tech firm. I was in my mid 20s. I had it all figured out by society's rules, in the sense that I was living great. I had a great paycheck. I partied on the weekends. I had a beautiful apartment, brand new car, took vacations, really anything you can want at this time of your life in your mid 20s. But there was something that just wasn't sitting right with me. And maybe you've had this feeling before. Maybe you've had the feeling where something just feels like it's missing from your life. It feels like you can't quite put your finger on it, but there's something that is not quite right. And you know that you want to be doing something more. You want to be doing something bigger, but maybe you don't even know what that is. Maybe you have no clue on what it is you want to do and how you want to contribute to the world. Maybe you're feeling stuck and confused, empty in some way, unfulfilled. Well, this was me at this time. And I knew that if I kept going in the direction I would be going, sure, I might climb the corporate ladder and get to the CEO position and serve from that place, but that just did not feel aligned for me. And so I had to make a decision. And so I prayed and prayed and prayed and said, can something, praying to a higher power, to the universe, someone, something show me what it is I'm here to do in the world? Because I knew deep down that I wanted to help others. I wanted to travel. I wanted to adventure. I had the core values of creativity and spirituality, and I knew that there was something more for me. So one day I was driving home from work. So Tuesday afternoon, 2012, I'm driving down the highway and I see a billboard. Drive the same highway back and forth to work every single day. Never seen this billboard before. The billboard says, "Are you ready to answer the call?" And it struck me. And as I passed the billboard, in the right-hand side, it said sponsored by the Peace Corps. So I asked myself, what's the Peace Corps? I went home, Googled, what's the Peace Corps? And for anybody that doesn't know what the Peace Corps is, it's a grassroots organization sponsored by the American government. You go and serve in many different countries around the world. There's 80 different countries, and you give back in the realms of teaching English, health, business, agriculture, and so forth. And so I was very intrigued, and I started looking up stories about people that were in the Peace Corps. And that led me down a further rabbit hole where I began to apply. So I submitted an application. I went through the application process, and then I was given all of the stuff to do, take all of the tests, do all of the medical tests, written tests, all of these things. Long story short, a year and a half later, I get a letter in my email. It says, "Dear Christopher, congratulations. You've been selected to the Peace Corps to serve in Tanzania, Africa as a health and business volunteer. You have 7 days to decide. After 7 days, void this letter if you have not made your decision." So this was a big defining moment for me. I was in my apartment with my roommate. I was reading this email. Tanzania, Africa, 8,000 miles away from where I was, which was in Buffalo, New York. So you can imagine at this time giving up everything from what I perceived to be secure, outer external security, a paycheck, friends and family, parties, all the comfort zone, all the fun I was having, to then leave and move to a place that was completely unknown. Well, as you could probably imagine, I made the decision and I found myself on a 747 jet 6 months later going to Tanzania, Africa. And I spent 2 years of my life there. I lived in a village, very rural village, 17-hour bus ride from the main city of Dar es Salaam. I lived amongst the people, amongst the community. I didn't have any running water, no modern amenities. I cooked over a fire, no internet, nothing, no electricity. It was very primal. And it was during that time I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the world and how other people operate beyond the modern conveniences that we have. And it really taught me a lot about myself as I was able to dive deep into my own inner worlds, to begin to discover what it is I was actually truly passionate about, where I had this time to contemplate. I had this time to meditate. I had this connection with nature. Now, of course, it wasn't always easy. I went through a major emotional roller coaster ride. There was days I didn't want to be there. I wanted to leave. Nobody spoke English in my village. I had to speak Swahili and adapt to the language and to the community. So it was a big, big shift in my life. And that experience overall was the transformation that I needed in order to catapult me to the next level. Now, I'm not suggesting everybody move to Africa and do that. Like, it's not necessary. But for me, it was. And I needed that catalyst to get me to that next level. Where after that experience, I began to tap into different communities, into different certifications, coaching, breath work, herbalism, energy work, going down the rabbit hole. And then one day, I was given this book, The Gene Keys, which what we're going to talk about tonight. You're probably wondering why I'm telling you this whole story. Well, it all ties in. So I received this book from a friend, and this book was, I started flipping through it. And all of a sudden on the cover, just looking at the cover, and you can see mine's quite worn. It's got tape all over it. I mean, this thing's been pretty used. But embracing your higher purpose. And I know this is something that all humans desire. We desire to feel purpose, meaning, connection in our lives, belonging. These are all things that naturally we desire. Yet your purpose may feel very elusive at times, where that you don't really feel solid in what that purpose is. Well, after going through deep contemplations over many years through the Gene Keys, I was given a pathway, an opportunity to understand myself on a much deeper level than any other thing I've done before. I've dove deep into astrology, which I love, which is also a part of Gene Keys, numerology, human design, enneagram, all of these beautiful places and systems for self-discovery. But the Gene Keys is what spoke to me the most. There's something about this work that what you're going to discover today, they are future teachings that came to assist humanity in its awakening process. And only those that feel that deep call to them when they hear the word Gene Keys, you're probably ready. They're not for everybody. You have to be at a certain level of awareness. Probably have done some work on yourself. You've been in the healing realm. You've tried different tools and practices. And now you've come across the Gene Keys. And this is an opportunity for you to say yes or no. After this masterclass tonight, you're going to have the opportunity to say, yes, I want to go deeper, or no, this isn't for me. And that's okay. There's no judgment there. So with that being said, I'm going to dive into this and I'm going to teach you, again, this is multiple years of going through the sequences of helping hundreds of people through this work along with breath work. And we're going to tie breath work into this because the breath is the foundation of all of this. Without the breath, the contemplations, the teachings, they have substance, they have value, they have a lot of beautiful value that you'll receive from them. But when you integrate the breath into them, it unlocks everything to a whole nother level. And so this is why the founder, Richard Rudd, talks about the breath a lot. It's a very important aspect of these teachings. And so we're going to weave these two together and we're going to have fun with it. So with that being said, I'm going to push the pause button for a moment and I'm going to have you put in the chat if you have any questions before we move forward. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go through a few slides alongside your profile. And I'm going to show you guys how to really use these teachings to your advantage. And if you don't have any questions, that's okay. Side note, I just got this amazing Beats and Breath water bottle gifted to me, or tea bottle, which I'm now using tonight, which feels very good as I present these teachings. Jim said, should we get the book? If you want to take it deeper, which I'll present you an opportunity at the end to do that, yes. There's also audio contemplations you can listen to, but having the book is very important. The profile provides you a very beautiful overview, but the book takes it much deeper, as you can see how thick this thing is. It goes very deep into each of your Gene Keys. So let's start. What if we don't create a profile? Is that okay? Yeah, you don't have to create a profile, but it's recommended if you want to understand the teachings on a deeper level. So let me share. All right, give me a thumbs up. You can see the screen. Everybody sees the screen. Good to go? Tom, the app Triple Flame is very good. Yes. You can see the screen. Beautiful. All right, guys, let's dive in. All right, so what you're going to learn tonight. You're going to learn what the gene keys are and how to use them to discover your 4 unique gifts to fulfill your higher purpose in life. You're going to learn how to read your personal profile, unlock your 4 primary gifts, and you're going to learn how to access your own inner wisdom and creative genius to make heart-led decisions and feel more connected to yourself, others, and the world, and how to enhance your relationships and liberate your prosperity. Now, these are just very 4 key things, but we're gonna go deeper, and you guys can ask questions and whatever else. Like I said, we'll be here till 9 p.m. Eastern, and we'll be going through some breath work in a little bit to really anchor these teachings in. All right. So welcome to the Gene Keys. I'm not going to read everything verbatim. You guys will get a copy of this. So you'll be able to go back into this. But essentially, to sum it up, the Gene Keys combines and blends together your personal astrology and the 64 archetypes of the Chinese I Ching. The Chinese I Ching is an ancient text that's been around for a very long time. And there's 64 human archetypes that are embedded within our DNA, essentially, within our genetic code. And the Gene Keys takes these archetypes, turns them into keys, and also combines your personal astrology to give you a very personal, customized blueprint of your soul, essentially, your spiritual makeup that was imprinted at birth. Now, everybody may have different beliefs, various beliefs on, the incarnation process and our soul and all of that. The synthesis of the Gene Keys takes into account that your soul chose these specific imprints at birth or pre-birth to help you learn lessons, to help you expand and evolve into your highest potential, your highest self. And we all have these imprints within us. And we, through the power of the Gene Keys and the wisdom teachings of the Gene Keys, have the decision to make whether we want to go into this to be able to unlock these codes, these gifts that are deeply embedded within our DNA. And so that's what the Gene Keys is all about. And it's been a profound and transformational journey for myself. And again, why I'm sharing it with you tonight. So this is Richard Rudd. He's the founder of the Gene Keys. I've had the pleasure of having Richard in many of my groups. I've had the pleasure of interviewing him a couple times, and he's a very grounded and powerful man that provides a lot of value in the sense of what he's provided. And so the Gene Keys and the origin story, which I'm not going to go deep into, but he brought these teachings to life over the course of 7 years after having some very powerful visions for 3 days. And he studied with the founder of human design. So you're going to see some foundational pieces in human design and the Gene Keys that blend together, which I'll talk about a little bit. But overall, they're a very different system in the sense that these are wisdom teachings, where human design, yes, combines astrology and the Chinese I Ching, but it's a completely different design system. So, just looking at the chat, making sure we're good here. Okay. Okay, so this is just an example profile I have up, but we're going to go through this a little bit. You don't have to read everything verbatim. I'm going to kind of give you a transmission on all of this. So with your profile, you have 11 keys in your profile. These 11 keys are unique and specific to you. There's nobody else that's going to have the same configuration of keys and lines. We'll get into the lines in a little bit. They're very, very important as it pertains to understanding your Gene Keys, which you're not going to find in the book. So you're going to get extra value here today by understanding a little bit of the lines. So with that being said, there's 3 main sequences within the Gene Keys. You have the activation sequence, which is comprised, I should say, of your life's work, evolution, radiance, and purpose. It's these four green spheres that follow these lines right here. The idea of the activation sequence is to discover your genius, to discover your deeper sense of purpose. And when we talk about purpose, we're going to frame this a little bit more in just a bit, but purpose isn't necessarily referring to your outer purpose in life. Yes, these teachings will have an indication of what those are and what that sort of outer role it is you're here to play in the world, but it's also your inner purpose. It's all about you stepping into the embodiment of your soul and using that energy to emit into the world through whatever you do. It doesn't really matter so much your role. It's more about the energy that you're emitting, the frequency that you're emitting. We all carry a very specific vibrational blueprint that we emit to others, whether we're conscious of it or not, or know it or not. That frequency is being emitted at all times when we're walking in the street, when we're talking with others, and we, through the gene keys, get to unlock the higher gifts of these keys to emit a higher frequency, which pulls and magnetizes people, opportunities, resources into our lives, which I'll get into in a bit. Venus sequence. That's the sequence up through the middle in these red spheres. I'm not going to talk about that today. It's a very deep and transformational sequence in itself, where it's all about opening your heart and how you begin to find freedom within yourself through your relationships, using your relationships as mirrors to support your unfoldment. It goes deep into your shadows, into the parts within yourself that may be wounded, that you've experienced different wounds in your life through your childhood and so forth. And you begin to transmute and transform those wounds in order to begin to uncover the gifts that are there and how that then shows up in your relationships, which is a very beautiful and powerful process. The keys at the top are, let me just change my microphone for a second. We got a dog barking out there and I want to not use this one because it will pick up the sounds. So with that being said, we have the sequence up top, which is these triangles, okay? This triangle up here, and then with your pearl in the middle, this is your pearl sequence. And this is all about liberating prosperity. Okay, it's all about leadership and business and how we begin to collaborate to create change and transformation in the world. And so we go through these sequences. We go through the activation sequence, we go through the Venus sequence, and we get to the pearl sequence. And it's through here we learn how to step into our creative potential. We begin to learn how we're meant to steward money and how we can prosper in every aspect of our lives. Money is definitely a part of that, and it talks about money in there, which I'll give a little insight into later because I know everybody loves to talk about money. So that's something that we can briefly discuss. But nonetheless, it is also, again, a very potent journey in itself, and can lend to you really beginning to embody your authentic self and who you are and how you're meant to show up. So I'm just going to check the chat. Okay. Sam, beautiful. Your comment really is okay. What if I don't know my exact birth, time of my birth? Is that okay? Yeah, you just want to guess, Nia, if you don't have it exactly. Okay. So what you're going to notice, which we're going to go into in a second, on here, you're going to see how you have three different words here. Okay. And I'll go into this in a bit. But there's three different words here. The bottom word being your shadow, the middle being your gift, the top being your city. So there's 64 gene keys. You have 11 in your profile. You may see double gene keys in your profile, triple sometimes. We'll talk about what that means in a moment. But with that being said, there's three sort of bands of frequencies. You have the shadow, which is the unconscious presence of fear in our system. And we, through the journey of the gene keys, begin to transmute and transform these shadows into our gifts. So the shadows are beautiful teachers. And oftentimes we don't want to look at our shadows because our shadows can be very painful to look at. There's a lot of wounds there. But for anybody, any of you that have been doing any sort of inner work at all on yourself, you'll know that your shadows are extremely beneficial as it pertains to you finding those gifts that lie within you. And it's turning this darkness into light and knowing that the darkness is here to serve us. It's not here to hurt us more, but it can feel triggering or painful to go into these parts of ourselves. But through that, you begin to realize a lot about yourself. It is extremely important as it pertains to our personal growth and our evolution as humans. We cannot ascend to higher frequencies of living and into our purpose without first going into the shadow. So if you're not comfortable with that, then I'm sorry to say that, you're not going to find the expansion and transformation you're looking for unless you do this work in this way. And the shadows are very important for that. The gifts. Your gift is this bridge, right? It's this bridge between the shadow and the city, which the city is this highest embodiment, this blossoming of your full potential. And the gift is really where we want to focus our attention and intention, which we're going to go into tonight with our breath work. So our gifts, which are highlighted throughout our profile, that is sort of the middle ground. And yes, of course, we want to be in our highest potential and your citic state, which is where maybe a lot of these masters of Jesus and Buddha were existing from. They were ascended master teachers. But when we focus our energy, and kind of the rule of thumb here, according to Richard Rudd, from what he's told me personally and what he's told the community, is that 90% of your energy should be focused on the gift, 10% on your shadow. Oftentimes, it's very easy to get caught up in our shadows. It's very easy to be a victim and play victim to our shadows and those archetypes. In the personal development community, we see it all the time. All of the different tools that are out there, yes, it's important to go into the shadow, but not to stay there, to understand what it's teaching you, but to really focus that energy into the gift as well. And so that's what this is all about. We just talked about the city a little bit. That's the highest potential of this archetype, the highest expression of it. Okay. Yes, thank you, Jacqueline, for your comment. Dark Nights of the Soul has brought me here today. Amen to that. Yes, same here. I've gone through many, and it's taken me on a very deep journey within myself, but it has brought me to where I am in this position today, sharing all of this with you. Okay, so now we're going to get into your profile. So if you have your profile handy, wonderful. If you don't, it's all good. You can go back to this later. So in your profile, you're going to see a gene key and a line number. Okay, so my analogy here is this. I kind of just made this up because it made sense to me, and hopefully it will make sense to you. The gene key is like the roots and the trunk of the tree. It makes up the bulk of these teachings. The lines are like branches. They support the story of the gene keys. When you combine the gene key and the line number, which you're not going to see on your profile, you'll see the line number, but you won't see anything about the lines. We'll talk about that in a little bit. You will receive a full picture of what that gene key represents. As I mentioned, you'll see the shadow, the gift, and the city. So we always start up at our top of our profile here in our life's work. You'll see a number and a line. There's only 6 lines in the gene keys, 1 through 6. There's 64 gene keys. Each of the lines, they represent they have a general representation throughout your profile. So I was talking about a line 1, it's all about individuality. It's all about solitude. It's all about the self. You go up to a line 6, it's all about the bigger vision for your life, for the world, right? It's the visionary line. And then of course, there's lines in between. And again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. They have general meanings, but they also change meanings based on the sphere that they're in. So you're going to see the same line number in your life's work and your evolution. You're also going to see the same line number in your radiance and your purpose. This is because these two keys are sisters, or what the gene keys call programming partners. This key and this key, this key and this key. Now, the reason that's important is because they're mirror opposites, and they help you to understand each other. The shadows trigger the shadows, the gifts trigger the gifts, cities trigger the cities. The lines also are complementary in those placements. And those lines that you see also relate to your human design. For example, I'm a 3-5 profile. So I have a line 3 on this side of my profile and a line 5 on this side of my profile. So in Gene Keys, I'm a 3-5. And that also then translates into human design, where those lines take prominence. I'm a 3-5 generator, for example. That's the archetype of the human design. We don't get into generator and those archetypes into the Gene Keys because that's specific to human design. And I'm not going to talk about that today because it's a Gene Keys class. So hopefully you're following along. Again, ask any questions. With that being said, we're going to go through these we're just going to go into your life's work today. Now, there's a much deeper dive. I'm going to give you an idea of what each of these mean. But when we go into the breath work today, we're going to start in your life's work. So right now, I'm going to pause for a moment. You can ask a question. You can also put in the chat, what is the gift of your life's work? What is the gift of your life's work? Put it in the chat right now. Sensitivity, beautiful. Communion, virtue, dynamism, love that one. Authority, yeah, Ty. Leadership, creativity, invincibility, presence, resolve, delight, creativity, dynamism. 39, I love that gene key. Forgiveness, resourcefulness, creating, communication, vitality, love, humanity. 36, great one. Your life's work on your profile, you scroll down, you'll see the profile, and you'll see numbers in there. And then you'll see the gift next to it. Transparency, synergy, altruism. Beautiful, guys. Amazing. Preservation. Yes, I'll go over the lines a little bit. It's much deeper work. Line work is very deep. When I go into readings, that takes an hour and a half, but I'm going to go over the lines a little bit. You don't have to know the lines right now to understand your gene keys. You're also going to see in your free profile, you have, of course, the full profile that shows all the line numbers and the gene keys, but you'll see 4 overview sentences of your life's work, your evolution, your radiance, and your purpose. And that's in your free profile. But again, there's the ways to take it deeper. Authority, farsightedness, inspiration. Beautiful, guys. Amazing. So on the surface, you might see the word and you're like, what does this even mean? Right? You might have your own interpretation of it, and that's good. That's fine. When you go deep into the gene keys and you have the book, right, you're going to go much deeper into what it actually means, each of the shadows, each of the gifts, each of the cities. But you don't need to know that right now. It's not necessary. What we're going to do tonight, we're going to take you through an embodiment practice where we're going to allow that gift to reveal itself to you in breath work, which I found very, very amazing. Same as on the side. My free profile is the exact same info as on the slide. Yeah, it's totally by chance, Christina. 54, this is just an example. So beautiful synchronicity there. All right, I'm going to move on. I'm not going to go deep into epigenetics. This is a whole topic in itself, but it's very important to understand. And I'm not going to read this verbatim. Essentially, we want to look at this down here. Our consciousness creates our biological reality, meaning our consciousness creates our physical reality. What we experience on the outside is a direct reflection of what we're thinking, believing, feeling on the inside. Okay, why this is important is because when you go through the gene keys, you're going to be very surprised to see that this is a blueprint, a map to your soul. And when you begin to contemplate these teachings, you're going to see the transformations happening on the outside. And so it's very important to understand how consciousness and how reality is created, how we manifest. Manifestation is a very big part of this process, conscious manifestation, and learning how to manifest using your gene keys, how to manifest a reality that is aligned to your authentic soul expression, that is aligned to your higher visions, your dreams, your potential, your purpose. That's really what this process is about. It's a deep, powerful manifestation process. And so the idea behind the gene keys is that these are all part of your DNA, your genetic makeup. So when you're contemplating them, you're going through the process of working with your gene keys, you will begin to see the transformation happening in your external reality. As maybe as soon as you start going through it, I've had many miraculous and magical experiences as a result of that, and they will challenge you. They'll bring you to a place. If you're not living in alignment, you're living out of alignment or out of integrity with yourself, well, you'll have a reality check. But that's what we need to grow. So we shouldn't be scared of that. We should allow that to happen. Okay. So now we're going to get into a little bit of what each of these keys mean in your activation sequence, which, like I said, was comprised of your life's work, which was comprised of your evolution, your radiance, and your purpose. And we will go deep into that. Okay. So a couple things to mention here. Again, I put all this information in here just to have it in there. I'll share the slides with you guys after, so you don't have to worry about taking notes here. You're going to see how each of these keys are connected by these lines. Okay, you have the first line right here, which is the line of challenge. This is all about breaking through, mastering your core challenge and lesson in life. Your evolution represents your core lesson in your life. You've probably seen this lesson many times show up as everything is multidimensional. Everything has layers to it. When you think you've healed something, you probably haven't. You probably have just seen one aspect of the diamond, where you have to turn it around and see it from another angle. That's how this work happens. And so the deeper you go into this, you begin to have these subtle and sometimes not so subtle breakthroughs, insights, satori's, experiences where you begin to take that leap of consciousness, and sometimes that physical leap where you've probably had this experience at some point of your life where certain people may vibrate out of your reality. Those people that once were in your reality are no longer in your reality anymore. You know they exist. You know that they're still living on this earth, but they're no longer a part of your life because you're no longer a vibrational match. Okay. And so what you need to be prepared for here, and I don't like to sugarcoat things. I tell people directly when you go into this work that as you raise your consciousness, as you raise your vibration, you will begin to see how people naturally vibrate out and vibrate into your reality. Same with opportunities, same with insights, clarity. You will discover more of what it is you're here to exude and bring to the world, what you're here to express in the world through this process. And as you step into your radiance, this is your flowering, the blossoming of your radiance, your vitality, what it is that you're here to share energetically from that point, and how it has an impact on your physical, mental, emotional health. And then you get down into your core stability, which is you anchored in your radiance, you anchoring yourself into your higher purpose, which again is an energy. We're talking about energy here, and this is exactly how this all fits into breath work, which I'll cover in just a few moments here. So as you go through the contemplation journey of these, the thing is with the gene keys, and what I'm going to mention is this: your life's work, your evolution, your radiance, all of these spheres that are within this part of the profile, you don't just read them once. It's not just about reading them. You read them, you contemplate them, which is the cornerstone of the gene keys. And this may take you several months to go through these gene keys. It's more of an intuitive journey. As you contemplate them, you see how they relate in your life, and then you continue to go deeper through them. And when you're ready, you move on to the next gene key. That's how it works. It's not a rushed process. You can do this work for the rest of your life and continue to have breakthroughs in your life. I've done the activation sequence probably 5 times now. And I keep coming back to it because I keep having bigger and more profound realizations on my journey. I'm going to get to your questions in a bit. I see there's a few questions in here, and I will get to those in just a second. Okay, so you have your 4 primary gifts. Now, I already kind of briefly covered this, but I wanted to put it in here. So your life's work, which is at the top of your profile, this is really the reason you do what you do. It's the why behind what you do in your life. Now, you might have an outer role right now. You might be playing a role in your life that you're not really fond of. You might be in a career. You might be in a industry, in a place where you're not really feeling it and you're ready to move on. This can have an indication of maybe what that next step is for you. And the gene keys will support you in that. However, if you do love what you're doing and you're in a place where you feel like you're thriving in your role, this will have a good indication on why you're doing what you're doing and how you can bring more of this core expression of this gift into your work. Okay. That's life's work. Your evolution is all about the single greatest challenge or lesson in your life. This is very important. As I mentioned before, it's multidimensional. So you may experience this lesson multiple times throughout your life, throughout your journey. Okay. And as you go deeper into it, you get into your radiance, which has a direct bearing, like I mentioned, on your physical, emotional, and mental health. And this, as you go deeper into it, will begin to, you will feel the life force energy moving through you. Recently, Richard Rudd, the founder of the Gene Keys, did a video on your radiance. And he said that this is the most important and magical key in your profile. I have contemplated my radiance, Gene Key 48, so many times. Every time I receive a deep teaching from it, and it brings me into a new expression of myself. And I absolutely love that about going through these gene keys, is that I learn so much every time. I may have read the same sentence 20 times, and on the 21st time, it like hits me, right? And that's why I love these teachings so much. So that's your radiance. And then your purpose. This is more about you stepping into a place of service in your life. There's a question in the gene keys, specifically in the pearl sequence, that Richard asks. And the question is, how can I be of the greatest service to the whole? How can I be of the greatest service to the whole? So that's a very powerful question, because we're very used to be asking questions that only regard us. Sometimes we can be selfish, and that's okay to be selfish at times with your energy, with your time, and so forth. But ultimately, we as humans, as we evolve, as we individuate, as we step into our purpose and into our gifts, we naturally want to begin sharing that with others. We want to be able to impact others, because when we impact others, we're impacting ourselves, because we take the notion that we are all one. We are fragments of the same exact source. Now, you may believe something different, but that's sort of the idea of these gene keys, is that there is one source, and we've all sort of fragmented from that. We are expressions of the God force, of the universe, of whatever you want to call it. And we as humans living on this earth are going through this earth school to expand ourselves, expand our souls, and through that process, serve the collective and serve others. And you on this call, watching this right now, have very specific gifts, talents, skills, abilities that you're here to share with others. You might not have clarity on what those are right now. You may. Regardless of where you're at, there is something within you that you're meant to share, that yes, it may be similar to what I'm doing or somebody else is doing, but you're doing it in your own unique way. That's why when someone writes a book on the same topic, there might be 15 different books on the same topic, but one person may resonate with that book over that book because they like that person, or the teachings of this person versus this person, they might resonate with that person more. And that's okay, right? I have a breathwork app. There's tons of other breathwork apps out there. There's a lot of other facilitators out there. There might be some people that don't resonate with me at all, and that's okay. And there's some people that love what I do. Fantastic. You attract and magnetize the people when you are anchored in your core energy, which is your purpose. And we'll get into magnetism in a second. I'm going to pause there because we're going to transition here in about 10, 15 minutes into the breathwork portion of this. And I want to give you guys a chance to ask some questions. So I'm going to go through here for a moment. Okay. Do you have any advice if immediate family no longer vibrates in your reality? Well, this is a multifaceted sort of question, but I can just kind of shed some light on this just for a moment. That I feel personally, I've had many experiences of people coming in and out of my lives. And of course, family is the most challenging, beautiful opportunity to see where you're being triggered. Oftentimes, family can trigger us the most. And it's beautiful because that's where the teachers are. Where your triggers are, there's opportunities, there's gold to be mined. So asking yourself, have I mined the gold from that relationship? Getting really honest. You might be triggered, you might be provoked by them, and what they're saying, what they're doing brings this deep level of disdain or, whatever it might be, energy, pain within you. Ask yourself honestly, have I learned the lessons I needed to learn with this person? And if you can come to a point where you can accept this person for who they are, forgive them for anything, forgive yourself, and it's still not a vibrational match, then that's okay. But it's really good to inquire and be honest with yourself. Self-honesty is a very important part of this process. Embodiment. Will reading the book help? Yes. Reading the book is going to take you deeper. There's also audio contemplations, which I provide everybody that works with me with this because those are very important as well. And along with breathwork is why I teach breathwork is because it's the foundation of everything. The breath is literally is life. And when you work with the breath in a conscious way, your life will change drastically in the most positive way. What does it mean to do a gene key activation? So the activation sequence is what I went through before. You can kind of go back through that, but the activation sequence takes you through the 4 keys I just reviewed here. And through this, you receive activations, essentially, awakenings. Thank you, Pablo. Beats and Breaths amazing. Appreciate you. Okay, Paloma, thank you. Okay, pathway to purpose. I struggle to find my purpose in this crazy active life with my kids. Purpose, how do I dig deep into clarify that I can have lighthouse on this journey? Okay. We'll get into that. Don't worry about reading into the lines right now and into everything. It's all going to sink in, right? So the opportunity tonight is to dive deeper with a point of inquiry. Okay. When we go into the breath work, the idea here is to work with yourself, your energy, your breath, and allow any insights, messages to come through for you to receive maybe any guidance that might come from the higher aspects of yourself. And then, of course, there's other ways to take this deeper and to clarify a lot of some of these questions that you might have. But reading the book and going through some of the lines will definitely help you understand that. The free profile provides you overviews, which I highly recommend reading. You don't have to do so at this moment, but those, for me, anytime someone comes to me like, holy shit, this really resonates with me, I said, I know, because they are a reflection of you. Any advice on separating purpose from career vocation? Good question, Roger. So the gene keys also go into your vocation, which starts in your pearl sequence, which is also your core wound. And I'm going to see what's next. Okay, cool. We'll go into that in just a moment. So there's differences there. We hear purpose, right? This is such a common question because we hear purpose so much. It's like, what is my purpose? The way to distinguish it, and the way that I like to distinguish it, especially with these teachings, is that you have an inner purpose and an outer purpose. Your outer purpose has more of a sort of texture around your vocation, your career, and so forth. Your inner purpose is your energy. Okay, this is if you see the gift of your purpose on your profile, whatever that gift is, that's the energy that you're bringing to the world. Yes, it can have an indication of your role, but it's more about the energy behind what you do. When you go into the pearl sequence, you go into your vocation, you begin to understand that a little bit more. And when you go through all four keys of your activation sequence, the outer role, your career, and so forth, it can become very clear. I've done this journey with hundreds of people, and every time holy shit, I've received so much clarity on this journey. So be patient with it, and you'll get there. Okay, I'm gonna take a couple more questions, and I'll go into the next part, and then we'll go into the breath work. What does it mean if the city and the gift are the same word for the one sphere? You probably have freedom, 55, because it's the only key that has the same. Is that correct, Amanda? So there are two different sort of levels of frequency of that key. Freedom, 55 and 22 are some of the most powerful gene keys. That's a whole nother teaching in itself. These can all be deep master classes. But I wanted to give you guys more of an overview today, so you guys, have a little bit of a better understanding of how to work with these. Does lack of abundance equate to not taking on the role meant for you? That's a great question, Tom, and probably a question that many of you may have. So, prosperity and abundance, they are very much directly related to, of course, the wounding you've had around money and that sort of thing. If we're directing prosperity and abundance and we're equating it to money, then we have to look at our stories around money. Okay, that's a very important place to start, our beliefs around that. So that energy will play into that. But yes, when you begin to live and fully express and embody your purpose in your life, energetically, first internally, and then externally through the roles that you play, through your passions and so forth, you will see the magnetism of abundance. And that abundance will come in many different forms, from people, opportunities, money, relationships, so forth. All of that is equated to abundance. Okay. And so we have this opportunity that when we go through the gene keys, that we're liberating this sense of abundance within us. Okay. And we're beginning to, when we get into our attraction sphere and so forth, beginning to magnetize through our creative sacral sexual energy, all of those things into our life. So it's a very, very powerful way of diving deep into that through the gene keys. And I'm just gonna mute a few people, some people here, so we're not getting disturbed. So with that being said, I hope that answers the question there. Let me just tap into a few more, and then we'll go into the next part. Yes, if you have double gene keys, it just means that energy is amplified in your profile. The spheres that they're in, they'll have two different meanings based on the sphere they're in, because each sphere has its own sort of like teaching. But that energy of 38, which is a powerful gene key, shadow of struggle, it's in my life's work, gift of perseverance, and city of honor, it's very powerful. That's the light warrior. It's the archetype of the light warrior. It's a very powerful one. So that energy is doubled in your profile. You want to dive deep into that. Do the gene keys change as one goes through life? Gene keys stay the same. Your gene keys are your imprint. Your understanding and awareness and perception of them change, and the perception of yourself. Do your gene keys reincarnate into each life? Good question. Perhaps. I don't know for sure. I can't say for sure. Perhaps if you haven't learned some certain lessons, you probably have similar imprints that come into the next life. If you haven't embodied the lessons or mastered the lessons that you came here to learn. So great question. Okay. So I've done a lot of talking, and I know that you guys, who's feeling, but just put in the chat for a moment, like, are you following? Are you understanding? Like, I want to make sure that you guys are like getting this to a certain degree. So I'm not losing you guys. For me, it's very important, especially because these teachings are very deep. So following, yes, it's complex, but all resonates. Yes, great. Sounds all good. Cool. Love this. Beautiful. Tracking. Great. As a facilitator, that's very important for me that people understand that these, and I'm being of value and service to you in this way. So looks like I am. So thank you for that. There is a lot to learn. There's a lot to go deeper, of course, like with anything, but I can promise you, once you go into it, you're gonna expand greatly. Beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna open the slides one more time, and then we're gonna go into the breath work in just a few moments. Give me a moment to share my screen, and we'll go into this. Share my screen. Great. Okay, Canva. Great. All right, guys. All right, so for the breathwork journey, we're going to go into your life's work. Now, we're not going to do it in the general way where we're going to read it all together. You may have already read your overview on your profile. If you have, wonderful. You can, we'll give you a few minutes to do so if you haven't done so already. Just your life's work. We're not going into your evolution or your radiance. Your life's work is its own sphere in itself, as they all are. So you can go very deep into it. Your questions down here that I put: what purpose am I to fulfill in the outer world? What does my particular genius look like? And what might prevent the expression of that? How is my genius activated? So you're going to hear this word genius. It's not so much related to intelligence. Okay. We're not talking about intelligence. We're talking about creative life force energy, your genius that lies hidden in your DNA. This is what we're uncovering. Every one of you, or maybe some of you, most of you in the chat earlier, I asked you to put in what is your life's work in the chat. What is the gift of your life's work? I should specify there. That energy, that word, we're taking into our breathwork journey. Okay. And so how we're going to work with this energy is this: that word you have in your profile in your life's work, you're going to bring it in. You're going to set the intention. You're going to set the intention that that word, that gift, be revealed to you on a deeper level. Okay. And so this is how we're going to work with it. You're going to take that and you're going to ask or put out the intention out there saying, show me more about what this energy of this gift means. You may feel sensations energetically. You may receive downloads and insights. You may experience visions or words. It doesn't matter. Okay. There's no perfect experience here. Okay. This is an experiment. Look at it as an experiment. You're using your breath. You're going into this journey. You're going to take this word with you on the journey. You don't have to think about it the whole time. Just in the beginning, we're going to do some invocations to set the stage, set the energy and the setting for this experience. And then you're going to take it into the experience and see what comes out of it. No expectations, no attachments, just letting go and seeing what, arises. You may receive nothing or perceive to receive nothing. You will receive something. It might be an energetic shift. It might be a feeling, a sensation you get. It may be more than that. It may be a breakthrough that you have. There is no perfect journey here. There's no reason to judge yourself or what comes or what doesn't come. Just be open-minded to the process and see what comes through. Now, the reason, and this is the last few bits I'm going to say before we go into it, the reason I use breathwork as a tool with the Gene Keys is because I have found personally, and also guiding lots of people through this process through group programs and stuff, that the breath paired with the Gene Keys will create energetic transformations. Everything starts on an energetic level. The physical reality we experience right now, whatever is happening in your life, starts first with energy. So when we shift our state, when we shift our energy, when we shift our vibration, all interchangeable here, we begin to experience a new reality. Physically, mentally, emotionally. We move from the energetic plane, we move to the emotional plane, we move to the mental plane, we move to the physical plane. Now, the mental plane is also very important because what we think, what we believe also creates a reality, but we're moving down this bridge, so to say. Right now, we're focused on shifting energy. When we shift energy, we begin to feel and experience the shifts happening in our physical reality. So you might experience the shadow of this life's work coming up. What is that shadow, right? That shadow may surface, it may show itself. Allow it to show itself. If it does show itself, meet it with compassion, meet it with love, see it for whatever it is, and allow it to teach you what it needs to teach you. And from there, you begin to ascend into the gift. With that being said, I am going to tune into the chat one last time. Thank you for donating your gifts. Thank you. Sorry, Brooke, you can't find that. You should see it in your profile. When you go into your personal profile, which let me pull up an example here. Is there anybody else that can't see their gifts or their profile? If you can, just put it in the chat and I'll share my screen really quick. All right. So when you pull up your profile, you should see something like this, right? I'm just going to expand this for a moment. You'll see at the top, your life's work, you'll see these 3 words right here. That should be in your free profile. So scroll down and you should be able to see that. If you don't, I'm sorry, like I can't see your screen right now, so we can figure that out offline. Okay. 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 Can you please repeat the intention? The intention is to carry the gift of your life's work, the word of that life's work into the breathwork journey, setting the intention to have more revealed to you through the process of breathing. That's it. You don't have to think about it after you set the intention, which we're going to do. We're good to go. And we're just going to breathe. So anybody here new to breathwork? Anybody new that hasn't breathed with me before? I think most of you have because you've come from my Beats and Breath community. So I'm not going to go too deep in explaining the process, but we're going to go through 3 rounds of breath work. If you have headphones, grab them. They're super important. And having the headphones is going to help you to get some better sound quality and all of that. And other than that, we'll be breathing in the first round to a 4/4 rhythm, and the last 2 rounds is a 2/2 rhythm. We're going to pick up the pace and expand the energy. In between, we'll go into the breath retention phases as we normally do. It's a 30-minute journey. We'll come out on the other side. We'll integrate, we'll share. We may just go over the 2-hour mark. If you can, stay, because this is the powerful part at the end where we integrate the energy. And then I will share with you guys an opportunity, if you so desire, to take this journey deeper, and we'll go from there. So with that being said, you can lay down, find a comfortable spot, turn off your camera. I'm going to turn off mine. I'm going to get some music on, get you guys comfortable and settled, and we'll take a powerful journey together. So I'll see you guys on the other side. Okay, guys. Yeah, just find that comfortable place, that comfortable position that feels good for you, and get settled, and we're going to start this journey in just a moment. Just getting yourself settled, finding that place where you can lay, relax comfortably. A place where you can completely decompress, to let go and surrender into yourself, into your own inner landscapes. And when you're ready, you can just begin to close down your eyes. And we'll get attuned with our breath. Taking a deep breath in and exhale all the way out. Again, deep breath in and release. Fully letting go, releasing any tension that is accumulated in your body and your mind. Dissolving any stagnation. Allowing yourself to become a clear vessel to receive everything you need, everything that desires to be revealed to you through the power of your breath. And as we set the space, we set our intentions for our core gift to be seen, to be felt, to be witnessed. We also set the intention to open our hearts so that we may be in a place of full receptivity, allowance, tapping into our yin energy. In a few moments, we're going to begin our first round of rhythmic breathing, breathing to a 4/4 rhythm. 4 counts in, 4 counts out. And we'll begin in 3, 2, 1. Breathe in, breathe out. In, in, circulating all of that energy. With every inhale, taking in new energy. With every exhale, letting go of the old. That's it now. As you continue to ride the waves of every breath, dropping deeper and deeper into a place of full relaxation, openness, and connection to yourself. And together we're going to breathe in 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath in. Hold that breath at the top, allowing it to rise all the way up, 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 up. Constricting, squeezing the energy, the life force. And exhale it all the way out. Empty, holding in this place of presence. Fully surrender. on my count, we're going to take a deep breath in 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Hold it at the top. Feel it rise up. All of that light from the root to the crown, up your spine, and back out. As we prepare ourselves to dive deeper into a 2-2 rhythm, getting ready to expand on my count. In 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 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 That's it. Feel it now. Receive it now. Building that creative energy, that prana, allowing it to be expressed, allowing it to be fully felt, digging up all of that beautiful light and energy that resides deep within your core. As you breathe in life, allow life to be mirrored back to you. Finding that flow, stepping into that dance of your soul. Allowing whatever needs to be expressed, seen, or heard to come to the surface. Breathing deeper and deeper. Keep it going now. And together, we're gonna breathe all of it in, all of what's inside, in 3, 2, 1. Breathe in, hold it at the top, carry the energy up. Up, 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 up. And just allow it to circulate. Allow yourself to expand. As you take a big, beautiful exhale all the way out. Deflating all of that energy back down into the earth. As you fully receive all that's alive and present for you in this moment. Together, we're going to breathe in 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. And exhale it all the way out. As we move back into the breath, to this 2-2 rhythm. In 3, 2, 1. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. it now. As you breathe, connecting with the frequency of your gift, of your higher, authentic expression, allowing the feelings, the sensations, the vibrations move through you. Stay with it now, breathing in all of that light, all of that energy, all of who you truly are. Few more breaths. And together we breathe in 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. All the way up, 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 up. Hold it at the top, calling forth all of the wisdom, all of the power that lies deep within you. Holding that energy, feeling that energy coursing through every cell. And fully release it, exhale it all the way out with the tone. Back to the bottom, back to empty, pausing in this moment.
And together, we're going to take a deep, powerful breath in 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Hold it at the top. And exhale it back down to the bottom. Feeling that full release. As you continue to hold and receive whatever is present and available in this moment for you. And on my count, we're going to take a deep, cleansing breath in 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Hold. And exhale. Slowly returning back to your natural breath. To your natural rhythm. Breathing in and breathing out. And as you lie there, I want you to repeat silently or even out loud if you feel called. I am. Insert your gift. I am. I am. I am. Just allow yourself to feel into that energy. into that gift that is unique to you. The gift that you hold within your heart, within your soul. One of the many gifts that you're here to share with the world. That you're here to use to inspire, to empower, to uplift humanity. And that through this gift, you magnetize abundance, prosperity, love, peace, and total fulfillment on your life's journey. And that you are the master, you are the creator of your reality. And that through this breath, through the wisdom that's embedded deep within your soul, within your DNA, it's all meant to be expressed and shared. And together, we can all create a better world. And just taking your time, taking this moment to just soak in any remaining energy from this journey before we come back into this space and share and integrate. If you feel called to stretch. Whatever feels good for you. And we'll come back together in just a few moments. Okay, everybody. Beautiful to receive you back here. I hope you had a wonderful journey. I'm very excited to hear what people experience. We already have a few comments in the chat. Jim, I love the share. Transparency, trans, shift, move, pair, join, bring together, into me, see to see. Wow. Very profound. Jacqueline, wow. Victor, amazing. Seb, amazing, beautiful and expansive, tears flowing. Hugh, thank you, brother. Pablo. Creative ideas flowing. What else you guys got? Anything else? Buzzing in ears. Beautiful. Any insights, revelations? Tom, mysterious. Paloma, beautiful trip.
And take your time to integrate. No, we don't have to rush anything here. Healing, blank. Blank is not a bad place to be. Show me why I need to be determined. Feeling held by myself. Beautiful. Oh, elevate. Great. So some of you guys got some things. So we're going to take a few people if you want to share. Um, you can share out loud. We'll have people come on if you want to raise your hand. So we got Jacqueline up in just a moment. Before I take anybody, and we share in an open space. We have about 10 minutes. We might go 15 minutes, but would love for you guys to stick around because I love these shares. They're the best, and we often receive healing through these shares. Before I bring people on, I'm just gonna let you guys know that if you want to take this deeper, I've put together a very expansive and immersive program that I'm going to lead you guys through starting in a couple weeks, where we're going to go through a 6-week journey. It's immersion into who you are and why you're here, doing what we did tonight, but taking it many steps deeper through coaching, through breath work, all of that. So I'm gonna in the chat, I'm gonna put together and show you guys what I've put together, this amazing offer that will, because I've done this multiple times, that will transform you on many levels. And so we go through this process of visioning, and then we go through all of our gene keys and our activation sequence to end up into week 6, which is a 6-week journey into manifestation. I've seen people through this have some of the most miraculous and magical experiences in which they were beginning to receive not only their gifts, but the abundance from those gifts in a profound way. People manifesting houses, people manifesting opportunities, investments, all sorts of things. I've seen a lot of powerful things in my life, and it's this journey through gene keys and breathwork and coaching that has expanded and transformed many people's lives. And I'm not just saying that. You can read the testimonials on the page, which I'll share with you. If you feel called, I'm making it extremely reasonable. The reason I'm doing that is because I want more people to experience this work, and I want people to dive deeper into this because it's changed my life drastically. I want to support you in also changing your life in the most positive and impactful way so that you can be of service to humanity. For me, why I do what I do, the core intention behind what I do, it's because I love it and I get so excited and passionate about it, as you can probably see. But I do it because I want to see this world be a better place. And I can't just do it alone. I can share my gifts the way I'm doing it right now for you guys, but you also are contributing to this, and we can all build like a new reality together. And I've seen that reality being built brick by brick, step by step, breath by breath. So with that being said, there is an opportunity. You can read more about it after. I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to put 2 links. One is a payment plan. If you don't want to do the full thing, or the full payment, you will save a few bucks if you do the full payment for this program. It's called Pathway to Purpose, 6-week immersion. And again, I take you deep through it. This is pay in full. So you guys can have those in the chat, look it over. There's a video on the page. It explains the program step by step, what you receive. We have Zoom calls every week as a group. There's a accountability group on Telegram that we go through. Everybody can share their insights. I had 50 people in my last group, and everybody's sharing every day. Holy shit, I had this breakthrough. It's amazing. There's workbooks. I do coaching with people based on your gene key. So if you come in, you're like, hey, I'm not really fully understanding this, I'll take you into prompts in front of the group to help you fully understand and be able to dive deep into that gene key. And then you also get yearly access to the Beats and Breath app. It's a very powerful container, and I would love to have you a part of it. I'll keep it open for a week, and then I'll close it down. Whoever's in is in, whoever's out is out. It's all good, but just going to put it up there for you guys to dive deeper if you feel called. What time are the classes? So we're going to decide that as a group. When we have the group come in, I take a poll on what works best for people. Replays will be up, and you guys will have lifetime access to all the content. It doesn't go away. So we're going to either do Sundays or Mondays. Right now, I put March 10th on there. It may be March 11th, but I'll decide that as we get people into the group. I like to take a kind of a test of where the group's at. and it will be 6 weeks. So we'll go 6 straight weeks from March 10th or 11th, and we'll carry it all the way through until we conclude in April. And like I said, you'll get all the tools and resources. We'll be doing breath work every week. We'll be going through contemplations together. You guys will get all the audio contemplations for the gene keys, and all of that. Again, I'm not sure if we'll be around the same time. It may be an evening call. If it's on a Sunday, sometimes I do morning or afternoon. But again, people are in different time zones, so we'll figure that out as we go along. But we always make it work. It always works, and weekends generally work best anyway. So we will probably land on a Sunday. Um, just okay, cool, beautiful. And I'll cover any other questions. Before we do that, I'm gonna let any other questions you have, put them in the chat. Again, you can scroll up to find those links to the program, and you can click and join if you feel called to. Again, I would love to have you there, and it's going to be an amazing group. I ran this last year, and I was so excited to run it again. So here we are. Okay. Christina, let's bring on a couple people to share, and then we'll conclude. So stick around for a few minutes if you can. Hello, Chris.
Hi. Hi, that was fabulous. Thank you so much. This is my first intro to Gene Keys, and I just bought your Beats and Breath yesterday, your app yesterday. So a lot of newness here. I tend to be an overthinker, and so I'm not quite understanding my gift, the word. And it's aspiration is the word. And it's the same one you had that very first, the 56.1 or whatever that is. That like freaked me out because that's whatever. I didn't know what the synchronicity was with that was your example and that's mine. So I kind of thought everyone had that, but you told me behind the scenes that's not the case. So anyway, I just don't. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not quite understanding the word aspiration.
Yeah, so for aspiration, it's a very personal journey, first of all, the Gene Keys. Okay. And so when you go, of course, you have your overview of your life's work, which may explain a little bit deeper into the essence of aspiration. Okay. Now, when you go into the book and you go into the audio contemplations, which really take that to a much deeper level, I generally don't give personal interpretations of Gene Keys to people. Because it's a very personal process. And my interpretation and my line of what I perceive it to be may be different. And I don't like to infringe on that process. If that makes sense, it's more of a personal journey. So when you go and get the book, I mean, the book's $20. You can just buy that and go through it by yourself. Or again, you can go through the course and you get all the materials anyways. But regardless, all of that said, I can promise you, if you begin to read and contemplate those, you will receive a lot of insight into what that actually means, because not what we see on the surface generally doesn't always mean what we think it means, especially when it relates to the Gene Key. So I may have not been the best help for you for that, but I want to leave that as a personal process of discovery for you.
Right. I just didn't want to get too verklempt even before I start, right? So I just wanted to ask that question. So yeah, it's open to my own interpretation. There's not like this Gene Key dictionary for what the word means, right? It's right. Okay. Thank you. I don't want to take all the time.
No, that's okay. Thank you. Thank you for hopping on. Okay. We'll go to share. Let's see if you can unmute yourself?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, hi. Actually, you answered you're not going to be able to tell me. I just couldn't understand. I couldn't grasp how humanity can be my gift. That's quite confusing. I mean, I felt humanity. I actually cried just saying the word. So I guess you're saying we should know what's inside of us, but I just don't understand how humanity can be my gift.
So to take that one step deeper, with this one, it's a very literal translation in the sense that humanity is embracing your humanness.
Okay.
The shadow of that, which is 36, which is turbulence, is the turbulence that we feel inside of ourselves when we're not living according to who we are. It's the anger, the repressed anger that is felt. And maybe this is your experience, maybe it's not, but generally the turbulence has to do with a lot of frustration and anger. And as we embrace more of our humanity, which is the light and the dark and everything in between, we begin to step into our gift, which is when we embrace that humanity, we embrace who we are, we begin to shine a greater light into the world. Hopefully that makes sense.
Thank you very much. That helped a lot. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Okay, anybody else want to share their breathwork experience, anything that came through for them? We'll leave the floor open for a couple more people if you feel called. We got Eston. What's up, Eston? How you doing, brother?
What's up? I'm excellent. Thank you. Thank you for this whole session. So mine was resolve, and I got a really cool download during, I think, the last round of it, where I kind of felt just golden light kind of start around the back, and it was like Tony Stark, like the suit kind of putting itself on like Iron Man, and I just felt that whole shield kind of like go around me, and it made this circle around my body, and that was a very cool experience. And yeah, it was one thing that I guess resolve could mean to me.
That's beautiful, man.
And one other thing was, like, at the beginning I was like really trying to like focus on like, oh, resolve, what is resolve, what is this, and I was, I think, making it very mental, and I decided to try and just like relax into the heart space as you suggested at the beginning, and I immediately got like tingles, and it was like source being like, ah, yeah, you're on the right track with that. So that was, yeah.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's a really important point to bring up because this isn't mental. Yes, it could be conceived on the mental plane. It can be conceptualized, but it's a felt experience. It's a direct transmission to your soul. Okay. And so this is not for only for you, but for everybody listening. These are transmissions to your soul. And so it can be a felt experience. And when it becomes a felt experience, the insights and the clarity come into the mind, where then we can process it through the mind and create from that space. So all of creation, as we know, starts from that deep void space of feeling. And as we move forward through that, we begin to create from that expressive energy that comes forth through us. Now, that's a completely different way than, of course, we know, because we're indoctrinated into the left analytical brain. And so all the time, it's the ego mind that is trying to control the situation. But through the breath work and through the gene keys, that's why it's a perfect marriage, is because we begin to go into the feeling state, and that's where the magic happens. So thank you for bringing that up, brother.
Yeah, the breath work mixed with, like, because Richard talks a lot about the contemplation, how that's really the key. I see that as just a very powerful tool to help with that.
That's exactly right. Now on the head, man. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay. Beautiful insights in the chat as well. Someone asked what the music was. So that's all going on our app. We have a bunch of stuff on our app that's out there, and we're releasing more tracks this month. So that will all be on there. So you can find all the music and all that stuff that's coming out. We got Tom. What's up, Tom? It's unmute.
Hey, Christopher, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
You got you now.
Thank you for your time. All right. I wanted to comment that I've done a couple of sessions that you've given, and this particular, every single time I've done a session, I always get really, really intense vibrational feelings on my hands. So I equate, when I first started doing experiences with you, I felt like it was very sexual, and I was raised in a Catholic household, so all of that sexual repression, it made sense to me that it was coming across as really, really erotic and intense in that way. So I was wondering, maybe though, what your perception would be in terms of why the sensation of the hands is constantly something that is is resonating with me or that I'm noticing?
Great question, and I appreciate you asking, and also your other insights that you mentioned around sexual energy. So, first of all, the sexual energy is essentially, we can equate that to creative energy, because creative energy is also equal to sexual energy. It's all one, and that all resides in the sacral. So, with these practices, we're activating our life force, this creative sexual energy, to invoke our power. And that's where our power stems from. It's from the solar plexus and the sacral. And so through these breath practices, we are literally expanding our power, our energetic capacity. And through that, we may have these different sensations that, of course, when we put our human brain to it and the perception to it, it will feel like it's that forbidden energy, right? But what they don't want us to know, aka the church and everything else, is why sexual energy is so repressed is because it's the most powerful energy for manifestation, for creating, for magnetizing all desires, heart's desires, soul desires into our reality. And so when we're feeling that, that's like a good signal for you that you're actually in a really good feeling state, and then to ride that wave and to see where it wants to take you. Because from there, you can create worlds. This is why breath work is also very powerful for manifestation purposes. When you carry an intention into the breath, you're breathing that into reality. And that's how, I mean, I'm actually writing a book about all of this right now because it's very deep and multifaceted, but great question. Also, the hands are the most one of the most charged parts of our bodies. This is where we carry all of our healing energy. So, a lot of energy work, when we do it ourselves or anyone else, it's all done through the hands and the transmission of light through hands. So you're just getting an activation essentially. Some might equate that to Kundalini energy that's rising through the body to awaken certain areas, but it's nothing more than an activation. And the more you can just surrender to it, the more insights and clarity you'll get through that. I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you so much.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, guys, this was fun. I had an absolute blast tonight. I had a lot of fun with you guys, and this is what lights me up. So I am so incredibly grateful for all of you that has shown up on this call, that are here, that were a part of this experience with me. I truly, truly appreciate it. And again, if you feel the call, if you feel the resonance, if there's something in you that really wants to take this work to the next level, I have done this enough where I feel extremely, supremely confident in helping you really reach new heights within yourself and your life, your relationships, and so forth. And if that's the case and you really want to answer that call, it's there for you. Again, the links to join, if you want to join, I'll put them in one more time, and you guys can check it out. Check out the offering. Would love to have you there. And I'll also put in an email with the replay. You guys go back through the breath work. And again, hope to see you on the other side. Much love and positive energy. Peace.